Hello, my artist friends. Welcome to Imagination Draw Along. I'm Aunt Dewey. Thank you for drawing with me today. Today, I want to draw a scientist, maybe with some crazy scientist hair and a lab coat, and a table with plenty of room for beakers and measurements and a Bunsen flame burner. I'll leave it up to you to decide what kind of concoction they're cooking up. A magic potion? A new medicine that keeps you from getting sick? A fun drink that tastes like whatever you're thinking about? When I draw my scientist, I think it'll be fun to base my drawing on myself. So I'm going to draw a scientist version of me, and you could draw a scientist version of you. I'll start by drawing my round head. When I draw my scientist face, I want to think about how it might feel to be doing science experiments. Would you feel excited? Curious? Nervous? Smart? Draw your face how you think you would feel when you're creating something new. I'm drawing my eyes and a very curious smile. It looks a lot like my regular smile, but my imagination knows that I'm feeling curious. Next, I need to add some safety equipment, so I'm going to draw some nice big goggles over my eyes. So I'm starting to look a little bit silly. But the goggles will protect me from any accidents. Now I'll draw my hair in classic scientist form. You might have heard of a scientist called Albert Einstein, and he was a famous scientist who inadvertently made crazy and wild hair look very chic in the scientific community. So I want to draw my hair crazy. Crazy hair just means your hair doing something that it doesn't usually do. So since my hair is usually long and straight, I'm going to draw it standing straight up with a couple of zigzags and curly parts. I might even throw a butterfly in there. If you normally have curly hair, you might draw some straight parts. Maybe poofy hair becomes flat. Maybe no hair becomes very curly. Whatever your imagination tells you, there is no wrong way to do your art. Next, I'll draw my lab coat, which is a long white coat that keeps my clothes and skin safe from chemicals and chemical reaction. So I'll draw my high collar and my long sleeves, and my lab coat buttons up and down the front. I'll add a pocket towards the top so I can carry my thermometer and my pens to take notes. Scientists take a lot of notes. Scientists like to make observations, meaning they're really good at noticing details. Scientists and artists alike are both very good at noticing details and making observations. Next, I'll add some safety gloves so that my fingers are protected, and my gloves are making my fingers look kind of wide and chunky. But I can still use my tools. Next, I want to draw a nice big table that has plenty of room for experiments. You might draw your table next to your scientist or in front of your scientist self, wherever you think you've got room. And I'm going to add a couple of different test tubes and beakers And if you're using colors, this is a great time to get really colorful and creative. If you only have one color and you're using your imagination, you can think about all the different tie-dye and sparkly crazy that these liquids will be. My first glass will be a test tube, which is a skinny tube that has a round bottom and an open top so that my scientist self can pour some liquids in there or some chemicals. Since it has a round bottom, it can't hold itself up, so I've got to draw some support around it. And that just looks like two sticks holding it up. Almost like the test tube has long arms that touch the ground. And I'll pick any color that I've decided this chemical is. And then I'm going to draw another one of these test tubes to match. But maybe I'll put a little something different inside this one. So I'm doing another skinny tube with an open top and a round bottom. And of course I'll need to draw some supports to hold it up. Next I'll draw my mixing beaker, which looks a lot like a regular cup that you would drink out of, but it's a little bit wider. This is the container that the scientist uses to mix all the chemicals together, usually. And I'll add liquid in there of any color, and I'm going to draw some lines on the side of this beaker so that my scientist self can measure how much liquid is in there. I want to add one more beaker if you have room. If you've got plenty of room, you can of course add as many as you want. The next beaker is going to have a triangle-shaped bottom and then a tube sticking out the top. This one is called an Erlenmeyer flask, and it helps keep gases from escaping out of the beaker because it has such a skinny opening on the top. But it's nice and wide at the bottom, so gases can swirl around and meet and mix and have a chemical reaction. Next, I'm going to choose one of my beakers that I just drew, and above it, I'm going to draw a tiny little puff of smoke or a poof of color, or perhaps some stars and zigzags to show my chemical reaction. Sometimes it's fun to imagine chemical reactions being poofy or exciting, but lots of times chemical reactions are very slow, and they're all around us. For example, if you've ever seen a banana turn brown or any fruit rotting, that's a chemical reaction. It's reacting with the air. When a piece of wood gets burned to ash, that's a chemical reaction. If you've ever seen something get rusty, like a nail or a coin, that iron is reacting with the air and turning to rust. There's even chemical reactions happening inside our bodies all the time. If you've ever digested food, you did a chemical reaction. I think that's so cool. I just remembered one more thing that I want to add to my science lab. I want to draw a cute little rat for a science partner. Scientists love studying with rats. Don't worry, I made sure this one was super clean and doesn't have any illnesses. Let's make an artist's choice on where you want to draw your helpful rat partner. You can draw him or her on the table, mixing colors, or in a hamster wheel. Or maybe you want to draw the rat on your shoulder or in your crazy hair. It depends on what kind of scientist you are and what kind of artist you are. Go ahead and make that artist's choice and draw your rat. And while you do, I'm going to turn to the adults in the room really quick just to say thank you very much for pushing play on this show. When you leave a review or you subscribe or you share with a friend, it helps more than you probably realize. So thanks so much. If any of your artists want to show their artwork to me, you can submit it at imaginationdrawalong.com, and if you want, I'll even put it on the website, so check it out. Artists, how's your rat looking? Did you give your rat a name? Take a moment to look over your scientist picture. Make an observation. Do you have any more details that you want to add? Take your time to finish, but when you're done, remember to write your name on the bottom corner of your picture. Or your best first initial, or any scribble or symbol that reminds you that this is your picture and you're proud that you took time to do art. Until we draw together again next time, I have 3 things your imagination can wonder about. 1. What cool concoction did you make up? And what does it do? 2. What quiet chemical reactions are happening all around you? 3. Why is it so important for artists and for scientists to be good at making observations and noticing details? Thank you for drawing a scientist with me today. I hope we draw together again soon.